On October 8, 1945, a man named Percy Spencer was standing in a laboratory in Cambridge, Massachusetts, running tests on a piece of military radar equipment. He reached into his pocket. The chocolate bar he'd put there that morning was gone. In its place was a warm, sticky mess of melted chocolate. Spencer didn't panic. He didn't call for help. He looked at the radar equipment. Then he looked at his pocket. And then, according to everyone who knew him, he smiled. Within 2 years, the technology that had helped win the Second World War would be sitting in your kitchen. This is the hidden history of the microwave. Percy Spencer was not supposed to be in a position to make this discovery. He was a self-taught engineer from rural Maine who had never finished elementary school. Orphaned young, raised by an aunt and uncle, he taught himself mathematics and electrical theory from library books. He had no formal engineering degree. He applied for a job at Raytheon, one of the largest defense contractors in the United States, and got it on the strength of his practical knowledge alone. In 1945, Spencer was working with magnetrons, the vacuum tubes that generate the microwave radiation used in radar systems. These magnetrons had been critical to Allied radar technology during the war. Spencer was testing one when he noticed the chocolate incident. Unlike most engineers who had previously noticed similar heating effects around radar equipment and ignored them, Spencer stopped and asked the obvious question that apparently no one else had bothered to ask. Why? He began experimenting, first with popcorn kernels placed near the magnetron. They popped. Then with an egg. The egg exploded. Then with other foods. Each test confirmed the same principle. Microwave radiation caused the water molecules inside food to vibrate rapidly, generating heat from the inside out. It was cooking, but not as anyone had ever understood cooking before. Every form of heat applied to food before this moment had worked the same way. Fire, oven, stovetop. Heat is applied to the outside surface. It travels inward through conduction. The inside of your food gets warm because the outside is hot first. The microwave reversed this entirely. It cooked from within. It was the first genuinely new cooking method in the history of human civilization. Raytheon filed a patent for Spencer's discovery in 1945. The first commercial microwave oven went on sale in 1947. It was called the Radarange. And if you imagine the sleek white box sitting on your kitchen counter, you are imaging something completely different from what Raytheon produced. The Radarange was 1.8 meters tall. It weighed 340 kilograms, roughly the weight of a large motorcycle. It required a plumbed water connection to cool its internal components. It cost $5,000 in 1947 dollars, which adjusts to approximately $65,000 today. It was marketed exclusively to restaurants, ocean liners, and railroad dining cars, not homes. No one imagined putting this in a home. The engineers at Raytheon were proud of it. It could heat a frozen hamburger in 35 seconds. It could reheat soup in seconds. For high-volume commercial kitchens, the speed was extraordinary. But the machine was so large, so expensive, and so technically demanding to maintain that adoption was slow. For 14 years, the microwave sat in professional kitchens and institutional settings, an impressive curiosity rather than a transformative technology. The leap to the home would require two things: miniaturization and a company willing to bet everything on it. Here is the part of the microwave story that American business history prefers to gloss over. Raytheon held the fundamental patent. American companies had the head start. American engineers had identified the technology, developed it, commercialized it. By all rights, the microwave should have been an American triumph from laboratory to living room. It wasn't. Because while American companies spent the 1950s and early 1960s focused on building bigger, more powerful commercial units, Japanese engineers were asking a different question. Not how powerful can we make this, but how small. In 1962, a Japanese company called Sharp produced the first microwave oven with a turntable, the rotating plate that ensures even cooking. In 1966, Sharp produced a compact microwave specifically designed for home kitchen countertops. Where Raytheon's Radarange weighed 340 kilograms, Sharp's home unit weighed under 30. Where the Radarange cost the equivalent of $65,000, Sharp's home unit cost a few $100s. The American companies had invented the technology. The Japanese companies figured out how to put it in your home. By the time American manufacturers caught up, Sharp and Panasonic and Sanyo had established themselves as the dominant brands in the fastest-growing appliance category of the 20th century. It is one of the most complete examples in industrial history of the gap between invention and innovation, and of who profits from each. In 1968, a consumer advocacy group published a report claiming that microwave ovens were leaking dangerous levels of radiation into American homes. The story spread. Newspapers ran it. Television news covered it. Concerned citizens demanded congressional hearings. The radiation in question was non-ionizing microwave radiation, fundamentally different from the ionizing radiation of X-rays or nuclear material, which actually does damage DNA. Microwave radiation does not penetrate beyond the outermost layer of human tissue. It generates heat, the same way sunlight warms your skin. It does not cause cancer. Multiple government agencies and independent scientific bodies studied the question and reached the same conclusion. Properly functioning microwave ovens posed no radiation risk to users, but the word radiation had been burned into the public consciousness by Hiroshima, by the Cold War, by the nuclear anxiety of the post-war decades. It didn't matter what kind of radiation. The word alone was enough. Sales slowed. Raytheon lobbied Congress. The FDA established new leakage standards for microwave ovens. Standards so conservative that they were set at 1% of the level considered potentially harmful. The microwave survived the panic, but the fear never fully disappeared. Ask someone today whether microwaves are safe. A surprising number will hesitate before answering. The 1968 panic planted a seed that decades of contradictory scientific evidence have never completely removed. The radiation scare faded, but a second myth rose to replace it. By the 1980s, as microwave ovens became standard in American and European homes, a new concern emerged: that microwave cooking destroyed the nutritional content of food, that vitamins and minerals and essential compounds were somehow obliterated by the microwave process in ways that conventional cooking did not replicate. This concern was and remains scientifically backwards. Heat destroys nutrients, all heat. The more heat applied, and the longer it is applied, the more nutritional degradation occurs. Because microwave cooking is typically faster than conventional cooking, and because microwaves cook from within rather than through sustained surface heat, microwaved vegetables actually retain more of their nutritional content than boiled or oven-roasted equivalents. Studies comparing cooking methods consistently show microwaved broccoli retaining significantly more vitamin C than boiled broccoli. But the myth persisted. It persists today. Type it into any search engine, and you will find websites confidently explaining that microwaves destroy the life force of your food. The life force. That is not a scientific term. It is not a nutritional concept. It is a feeling dressed up as a fact, and it has proven extraordinarily durable. Why? Because the microwave is fast. and fast in our cultural relationship with food has become associated with cheap, with processed, with not caring. Slow cooking carries moral weight. The microwave carries its opposite. The nutrition myth is not really about nutrition. It is about the discomfort of a technology that removes effort from a process we have decided should require effort. The microwave oven entered 50% of American homes by 1986. By 1997, it was in 90%. No appliance in the history of domestic technology had achieved that penetration rate that quickly. Not the refrigerator, not the television, not the washing machine. What it did to the world is more complicated than it looks. It made it possible for one person to feed themselves without cooking. For a shift worker coming home at midnight to have a hot meal in 4 minutes. For an elderly person living alone to eat safely without standing over a stove. For a child to heat their own food. These are not trivial things. These are quality of life changes that reshaped how millions of people experience daily life. It also accelerated the processed food industry in ways that were not entirely benign. Food manufacturers reformulated entire product lines specifically for microwave preparation. Frozen dinners, microwave popcorn, ready meals. Products designed not for nutritional value or culinary pleasure, but for the specific heat delivery profile of a microwave oven. Convenient, cheap, calorie-dense, nutritionally thin. The microwave didn't create processed food, but it created a faster, easier delivery mechanism for it, and the food industry followed that mechanism wherever it led. The result was a paradox. A technology that could preserve nutrients better than conventional cooking became the primary vehicle for delivering some of the least nutritious food ever mass-produced. Here is the thing about the microwave that most people never quite register. The technology in your kitchen is directly descended from military radar. The magnetron in your microwave is a cousin of the magnetron that tracked enemy aircraft over Britain during the Battle of Britain. The same physical principle, microwave radiation, that helped the Allies win the Second World War is right now heating your leftovers. Percy Spencer never finished elementary school. He taught himself enough physics to work at one of the most sophisticated defense contractors in the world. He noticed something that dozens of engineers before him had also noticed and dismissed. He asked why. He experimented with popcorn and eggs in a government defense laboratory, and the cascade of events that followed, the Radarange, the patent battles, the Japanese miniaturization, the radiation panic, the nutrition myth, the 90% household penetration, all of it traces back to one man reaching into his pocket and finding melted chocolate. Raytheon became a multi-billion-dollar defense and technology company. Spencer received a financial bonus from Raytheon for his discovery, not a percentage of the patents, not a share of the profits, a bonus. The amount has never been officially disclosed, but estimates suggest it was in the low thousands of dollars. The man who accidentally invented one of the most transformative domestic technologies of the 20th century was paid roughly what a mid-level office worker earns in a month. The microwave on your kitchen counter, or the one in the break room at work, or the one in the university library, is the end point of a chain that runs from wartime radar research to a chocolate bar in a man's pocket, to corporate patent battles, to Japanese engineering, to congressional hearings about radiation, to cultural anxieties about fast food and effort and what it means to cook. You use it without thinking. You probably feel slightly guilty about it. You have almost certainly repeated at some point one of the myths attached to it. The radiation, the nutrients, the idea that it somehow produces inferior food. None of those myths are true. All of them are durable. Because the microwave does something that makes us uncomfortable at a level we don't fully acknowledge. It removes the labour from feeding ourselves. And somewhere in the long human history of fire, of hearths, of kitchens, of the cultural weight we place on the act of cooking, we decided that food prepared without labour is food that doesn't count. That convenience is a moral failing. Percy Spencer would find this baffling. He was a practical man who noticed something interesting and followed it wherever it led. He wasn't trying to change civilization. He was just trying to understand why his chocolate bar melted. I'm Aidan Thomas of Hidden History. Take a look around. History is everywhere. If you're looking at your microwave differently after this, that's exactly what this channel is for. The most ordinary objects carry the most extraordinary histories. Subscribe, and we'll keep finding them. Next week we're uncovering the hidden history behind something you put on every morning without thinking. The hidden history of the button.